How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the channel. The Big Blue Blob is an achievement that requires a start as France at the start date of 1444, and by 1500 you need to own 100 cored European provinces. That's 100 provinces in Europe, and they all should be cored. It's actually a surprisingly difficult achievement, and I talked about it a bit in my France guide that this achievement is not meant to be played as a long game. So when you're trying this achievement, you should keep in mind that the game ends in 1500. Play it as a 50-year game. Let's take a closer look on what we need to do. France starts with 27 provinces, so we need another 73 provinces in the next 55 years and 1 month, and all those provinces need to be in Europe, which is the part that actually makes it hard. European provinces are typically high development, which means it will cost more war score, more coring cost, and more aggressive expansion to take these provinces. Let's look at France's starting position. On our east is Burgundy, which have some really high development provinces. Then there's HRE, and then there's little Provence down there, who is our ally at the start. Burgundy starts fairly strong with all its subjects, but with some effort, you can take some provinces from them. But given the high development, you can maybe take 2 provinces before the AE gets unsustainable for this run. Then the HRE, where you get 50% aggressive expansion penalty, so that's a no-go. Provence provinces are fairly high development too, but we might get an opportunity to take them at a later date if they get excommunicated. To our west is Brittany, which is a small weak nation that we can definitely take on. But they get 25% increased core creation costs as their first national idea, which means we will have to spend a lot of extra admin points. We can try to vassalize them, but then we'll have to spend a lot of diplo points for annexation. But even if we manage to attack them early, taking over Brittany generates substantial AE because of high development. To our south is Castile and Aragon, who are actually decent targets to get some provinces from. And to our north, across the channel, is England, who we will fight via the main event, and Scotland and some Irish miners that are very juicy targets. So we are sort of boxed in, surrounded by either high development provinces, or aggressive expansion penalties, or increased coring cost. We'll have to get a bit creative to get this achievement. Resource management is key here. Admin points are needed to core all those provinces, so use them sparingly, prioritizing coring over tech, and always take extra admin points from events. We are used to taking longer term options in events, but remember, this is a 50-year game, so take those monarch points when you can. There are also 2 level 2 scripted admin advisors at the start. Hire them while they are available. Also, I would put the national focus on admin at the start. Money is inconsequential. You will take a lot of loans. Just keep piling them on, they don't matter. In my game, I had about 10 loans most of the game. You don't need to manage finances in a 50-year game. Just remember to keep paying the smaller loans as you take bigger ones, as your loan size will increase when you conquer new provinces. 2 of your biggest expenses will be building up the navy and embracing institution. Aggressive expansion, although not a resource, will need to be managed aggressively. Aggressive expansion is one of the main limiting factors and the reason why you cannot expand into Burgundy or HRE or most of Italy. So we will need to spread out the AE. There will be some coalitions anyways, but as long as you have a couple of strong allies, you should be okay. In starting diplomacy, France starts with Provence as an ally, and we are also guaranteeing Scotland. You need to ditch both those relations. Revoking your guarantee from Scotland is important as we need to attack them early, and Provence might be a little helpful in war against England, but you can dissolve that alliance right after the war too. Castile is one of the best allies you can have for this achievement. They are big enough, they have a decent navy, and the only offensive war they will call you in is in North Africa, so you can just ignore it and not participate in it at all. And that's the reason I recommend you restart till Castile doesn't rival you. Ideally, you want Castile to not rival you and for them to rival Aragon, and this actually happens fairly often. You should also strongly consider Papal State as an ally. They aren't super strong, But allying them will mean that you don't get excommunicated, because getting excommunicated on top of the aggressive expansion modifiers means a sudden coalition war, and you really don't have time for coalition wars in a 50-year game. In late game, just ally any big nation who is willing to ally you and go over the relationship limit. During the last stretch of warfare, you will conquer a lot of provinces, so you will need strong allies to deter coalitions from attacking. Like I mentioned, we need to spread out the AE, so we will open 2 fronts for our attacks. Also, the provinces we conquer need to be low development, which will mean less AE and less coring cost. First war will be against England. You can declare a reconquest war, but that will mean you can't call in your allies this early, and you won't have a strong enough navy to take the fight to English mainland. So I advise letting the main event fire. Siege down all England provinces near you and look for any English army landings. Don't engage their navy. Even with Castile fighting on your side, it's not worth fighting their navy as you will lose most of the time. This war takes a while as you can't siege down England capital, and while you're waiting for the war score to tick up, you should improve relations with your allies and neighbors and start fabricating on Aragon and one of the Irish miners who border Pale, because we are going to take Pale along with as many of our cores as we can from England. Now that you have more coastal provinces, start building some heavies. I would advise building 6 more. Having 8 heavies means you will have naval supremacy for the duration of this achievement. You will also need to build a few more transports at some point to ferry your armies easily. Your next war is going to be against Aragon. They typically ally one of the North Italian nations, and your allies Castile and Papal State will join the war on promise of land. You need to make sure you have a high enough war contribution so your allies don't demand too much at the end of it. You can take just Roussillon from this war, and you can also add Baleares if you have high enough war contribution. The aim for this war is to release Catalonia as a vassal, so you can do a reconquest war over Aragon later, which means you can get a lot of provinces for minimal AE. There will still be some aggressive expansion from this war, so next we will head over to Ireland. Declare on whichever Irish miner you have claim on, and if they have a couple of other Irish miners as allies, even better. Get all the provinces you can here. For the subsequent Irish wars, you might have to fight England too, but you will have your heavies ready by then, so that shouldn't be an issue. Next, declare on Scotland. They usually have Brittany as ally, so you will have to take care of both. Make sure this is a quick war though, as you only want to take Orkney from Scotland for now. You can also take the Isles and couple of islands if AE allows you. Make sure you keep improving relations with outraged countries all the time. Now we're going to chill for a bit. So the AE dies down a little bit, and in the meantime, we will start building spy network on Norway, or Denmark rather. The plan will be to take the islands along with Iceland and the low development coastal provinces from Norway. You will have naval superiority, so this war shouldn't be very difficult. Further wars will be against Novgorod, followed by an expansion into Muscovy if needed. Nearer to home, you can declare a reconquest war against England and take back rest of your cores and any provinces they or their allies might have in Ireland along with the island of Man. Then finish off any Irish miners that are left and start taking the low dev provinces in Scottish Highlands. In the south, we will do another reconquest war, this time against Aragon, and take back all Catalonia cores along with Sardinia. Then we can start annexing Catalonia. And doing all that will get you the 100 cores we need. Make sure you conquer all required provinces by late 1496 though, as it might take a long time to core them depending on your culture and religion. I managed to do it all by 1497, and you will always cut close to 1500 on this achievement. There's one more important thing that will affect your plan, and that's RNG. So you can do all the things I mentioned, but your gameplay might go a totally different direction if RNG wills it. So let's look at some of the events that affect this achievement significantly. Of course, the biggest one is Burgundian Inheritance. If it works in your favor, and the event fires in time like it did for me, you will get free 7 or maybe 8 provinces I think. That is a big deal. And it also matters a bit who gets rest of the Burgundian Inheritance. In my case, it was Castile, who is my ally, so it worked out in my favor. If it had gone to Austria, who was my rival, it would have meant more aggressive expansion to watch out for. You can also try to force Burgundian inheritance by declaring on Burgundy and full sieging them, but it's not a very viable strategy, especially in a 50-year game. It is pure RNG and you cannot do much about it. But you can complete the achievement even if you don't get provinces from Burgundian inheritance. Second most important event is the Iberian Wedding. If it fires early, you won't be able to get provinces from Aragon like I did in my playthrough. And that is a big blow, as this means you will have to focus on taking provinces from Scandinavia and Russia more aggressively. But again, it's not the end. Even if Iberian Wedding fires early, the achievement is still doable. If either of those events go against you, you need to make a beeline for Scotland and Norway earlier in game. I'd say you should aim on getting Orkney by 1460. That will give you enough time to hop over and start your conquest in Norway, Novgorod and Siberian Russia. There's another event that gives you claims in Naples. It fires if Provence doesn't exist, and it has a mean time to happen of 300 months. That's 25 years. So again, it's RNG heavy. And even if you get those free claims, you might be looking at too much AE to get provinces in Italy. Or maybe Iberian Wedding fires and Naples goes under Castile and then you can't get those provinces. But if you can manage the AE, this event opens up another front that you can use. Here's what I recommend. Just take Bari from Naples, just one province. From Bari, you can fabricate on whoever owns the Balkan provinces. These provinces are low development, so it's easier to get few of them in one war. If Bosnia or Serbia are still around, you are in luck, and it will be easy. Even taking provinces from Venice isn't that hard, as Papal State usually rivals them and will help you in the war. However, if Ottomans have already claimed those provinces, it might not be worth getting into that war. You can actually win the war against Ottomans this early, but it will take too much time to get any meaningful score. So your strategy in Balkans will depend on who owns those provinces. Excommunication is another RNG mechanic that might work in your favor. Say if Aragon is excommunicated, you can take a lot more provinces as the AE is only 50%. So keep an eye on who is excommunicated at all times. Just make sure it's not you. Excommunication will screw up your achievement run. Couple of additional points I will mention here. As I mentioned, excommunication sucks. So you should try to become the papal controller early, as it will give you the power to excommunicate whoever is your next war target. And you also accrue 20% less AE, which is huge. For idea group, it doesn't really matter a whole lot which idea group you take. You can go influence, as that helps with Diplo Annex in Catalonia. But really, you can take any idea group. For such a short duration, it doesn't matter too much. And that's the end of this short guide. France is a strong nation, and this achievement is doable, but it's also deceptively difficult. Just keep in mind that the game ends in 50 years, and don't regard money as a resource, and you should be okay. I hope the guide helps EU4 players looking to build the big blue blob. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.